Hello, hello, my friends. It feels like it's been a rather long time since I have sat down to film this video. Normally, every month, I feel like it comes like I sit down to film my Caramel Sundays wish list, and I feel like I had just filmed it. But we all know the month of January tends to feel a little bit long after all of the rush and hullabaloo, usually around the holidays. And Caramel Sundays this month didn't do, or well, I'm saying this month, this is now going up in February, but in the month of January, they initially had planned to do a January restock on January 31st. However, some supply issues at the beginning of the month pushed their pouring schedule back. And so this month, I guess we got, or should I say the beginning of 2026, we got a month off, technically, from purchasing from Caramel Sundays. And now they are returning, and boy, are they returning with a vengeance in the month of February. So the February restock for Caramel Sundays is happening this Sunday, February 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is going to be their first launch of spring for 2026. And boy, oh boy, do they have a lot of amazing offerings. My list is pretty lengthy here. You guys know I've been covering this brand for a little over a year. They are a small business based out of Monroe, Georgia. I really, really like a lot of their products because I tend to prefer 100% soy wax, non-tox, clean burning candles. And yeah, there's a few of these that are returning fragrances, ones that I am familiar with. And then there's a couple of new ones that have definitely caught my eye. So I'm really excited to share with you what I am hoping to get my hands on this Sunday. Keep in mind, you guys, when this restock is happening, that is Super Bowl Sunday. So if you are a Patriots fan or a Seahawks fan, you might be in a little bit of a quandary here. So make sure that you're signed up for those text alerts. You might have to carve out some time because I feel like at least, well, yeah, I think in most places of the country, this is going to be around the time that the big game is on. I know there's plenty of you guys who are not football fans, but personally, you guys, I don't really have a dog in this fight. So I think I'm going to be safe this Sunday. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about what is on my wish list. I did just want to let you guys know that I will have linked at the end of this video my Caramel Sundays playlist because there are 3 fragrances that are returning in this month's lineup that I do already have dedicated reviews on. I know that I've done some like reposts over the last month of those reviews, but if you are curious about my thoughts on ice cream sandwiches, blueberry lemon crumble, and oat milk and pistachio, I do have reviews for those candles already here on my channel. So if you like this video, please make sure you give it a good old thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. And at the end of this video, I will have my tips and tricks. I usually try to include those every month when I do this type of video because Caramel Sundays is a little bit different animal than some of the other businesses that I typically buy from, in that their business model, their sales model is a little bit different. But for those of you who are already familiar, you don't need to hear all of that jibber jabber. So let's go ahead and talk about what is on my wish list. So one of the things that they are launching this month is a brand new size of vessel. This is a 75-ounce vessel with 5 wicks. And I'm pretty excited about this. Now, the price point on this candle is going to be $99.99, I believe. So it's around $100. Now, I know a lot of us look at that and are like, ouch, that hurts, right? That is a pretty expensive price point. However, if you want to draw kind of a comparison, Harry Slatkin's Homeworks Luxe candles, which are 80 ounces, retail for $120. So I do feel like the $99.99 price point is not completely outlandish. I know other products like Voluspa or some of the more like luxury brands, their vessels are even more expensive, right? So I do feel like the $99 price point is pretty fair for 75 ounces of, again, 100% soy wax. And there are 2, possibly 3 fragrances that I am eyeballing. Truthfully, I think I'm going to go with 2 this go around. So you guys all know the one that is probably the shoe-in here, oat milk and pistachio. It was so funny the other day. I had done a reel on Instagram of my review. I also uploaded the short here of my review of the pistachio buttercream waffles. And I said in that review that it's still not as good as my #1 pistachio fragrance from them, which is oat milk and pistachio. And it was funny, Sierra commented and was like, watch it. Watch it. This one's going to sell out too quickly because you keep talking about it. And I'm like, I know. I need to learn to gatekeep a little bit better. So, you guys, oat milk and pistachio is terrible. Don't buy it. Let me get the 5-wick of it. But the rest of you, it's horrible. Don't spend your money on it. Top notes of warm vanilla oat milk, middle notes of creamy pistachio and almond, and a bottom note of, or bottom notes listed as brown sugar and crumbled cinnamon. You guys, this fragrance, when I had it last year, I fell in love with it. It was only available during one restock, and I remembered I had it in a 4-wick vessel, and it was one that I kind of like took, kind of like rolled the dice on. I was like, okay, I know I like their pistachio notes, but you guys, something about the mix of the like the oats, the creaminess, there's a slight element of spice there, but it's not overly spicy. It's not like coffin cake or a carrot cake fragrance or anything like that. The spice is very, very soft. And then it's that pistachio note that we all know and love and rave about from caramel sundaes. So I definitely want to get my hands on a 5-wick of that. Yeah, I mean, for all that I say, you guys, it is my number one pistachio fragrance from the brand. I feel like my nose is dripping. Like my weather can't decide. It wants to be really cold in the mornings, and then it's like 75 during the day. So my nose is doing all sorts of things. But anyways, oat milk and pistachio, you guys know that's a no-brainer. It is top of my wish list. It is probably priority number one. But I will tell you guys, priority number like 1.5 is going to be this new fragrance that they are releasing called Honey Badger. Now, Honey Badger has top notes of ripe bananas and honey butter, mid notes of juicy pineapple and honey, and base notes of pecan, butter cake, and vanilla. Now, this one is also going to be available in their 2-wick format. However, I am going to roll the dice and attempt to get this in that 5-wick format because one of my favorite trifectas of you guys know, I tend to burn complementary fragrances in my home. One of my trifecta fragrances has been in the past Kringle Candles Fruit and Flakes, aka Sugar Diamonds in the 3-wick, which I have 4 of those in my backup stash. Their banana bread fragrance, which I think came out initially in the country lineup a couple of years ago, and then it re-released last fall, I want to say, as like a warm banana loaf. So I have a country candle jar as well as 3 banana loaves. But the other candle that was part of that trifecta is Bath and Body Works Hummingbird Tea Cake. Now, Sierra did go in store and she smelled Hummingbird Tea Cake, and she said that Honey Badger is not a dupe for Hummingbird Tea Cake, but she said if you like Hummingbird Tea Cake, it's safe to say that you're going to like Honey Badger. And so for me, I'm like, okay, if she says that there's like some differences, but they're kind of probably in that same fragrance family, I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice and go ahead and get the 5-wick because again, it's a large amount of wax, and I've got quite a few other candles that I'm like, okay, I could burn those complimentary in the bedrooms and have that one as my centerpiece out here in the open concept. So Honey Badger is definitely on my wish list. The thing, if you are new to shopping with Caramel Sundaes, is that there is no additional shipping charges. The shipping charges are already built into the price of each candle, and we're going to talk about that at the end as well as to how that might benefit you when it comes to trying to get what you want. But Honey Badger is definitely another one that I definitely want to get my hands on. Now, the next fragrance that I keep going back and forth between, do I want it in the 5-wick or am I going to get it in the 4-wick? At the moment, you guys, I think I'm leaning towards getting it in the 4-wick just because like I don't want to overextend myself with the 5-wicks. I do know that, you know, Caramel Sundaes has these amazing launches every week, or not every week. I mean, goodness, can you imagine how poor I would be if they did this every week? I couldn't do that every week, but every month they do these amazing restocks, and I know that there's always going to be more fragrances that I'm going to love from them. But one of the ones that is returning is Blueberry Lemon Crumble. Now, this is going to be available in their 2-wick vessels, in their 4-wick vessels, and in their 5-wicks. So the different price points, 5-wicks are going to be $99.99. I believe the 4-wicks are $64.99, and then the 2-wicks are $31.99. And you get obviously different amounts of wax in each of those vessels. But Blueberry Lemon Crumble has fragrance notes, top notes of lemon and crumble cake, mid notes of blueberry milk, butter, and base notes of vanilla. Now, I did have that fragrance last year and I absolutely loved it. You guys, it does smell quite a bit to me like Trix cereal. No milky lactonic elements to it, but there's something about that one when it is burning. I know people might say, I don't want my house to smell like Trick cereal. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I'm just going to tell you guys, it's not overly artificial. It's very, very well done. And I do know that I talked about it the other day in the Kringle Easter collection that's coming up also next week. It's going to be a very expensive week. Let's just own that fact right now. They are releasing a blueberry lemon bar candle, and so I kind of want to see how that one compares to the blueberry lemon crumble. But that candle did perform well for me last year in the 2-wick. So if you're interested in that one, the 2-wick performed quite well. But for me, I know that it's a fragrance that I love, and so that's why I keep going back and forth between, do I want the 4-wick or do I want the 5-wick? The only reason why I'm kind of going more towards the 4-wick is that it's easier for me to store, especially now that I know that I can order that 4-pack of Pyrex lids. They are the Pyrex 7201 lids if you want to stick those on top of your 4-wick candles for easier storage. If you're somebody who maybe doesn't want to keep them in the boxes, which I know Caramel Sundays is great about giving us those boxes to store them in, but I like to see everything. So the blueberry lemon crumble, at the moment that I am filming, I am thinking I want to get that one in a 4-wick. But who knows? I might get FOMO when the actual drop happens and go for a 5-wick. Another fragrance that is on my wish list, you guys, and this is one that I feel like might get a little bit overlooked because I know if you're like me, again, I talked about the weather here this week. Winter is done for me, done. I am done with winter fragrances. But this is a fragrance that I think might get a little bit overlooked. I think that this was initially supposed to be poured in their January restock, and for whatever reason, I think it accidentally got left off of their pouring schedule. So they're going ahead and putting it in this restock. It is the fragrance Wishing for Winter, and it has top notes of sugared pomegranate, red berries and oranges, mid notes of balsam fir and clove, and base notes of vetiver and garland greens. I am intrigued by this one, and I think that I am like, this is not going to be a top priority for me, but if it is, like, I have a feeling that this one might not fly off the shelves right away because, like I said, I think a lot of people are really excited for spring scents. I think a lot of people are over winter weather or over winter in general. Maybe not everybody. I'm not speaking for everyone, but what I'm hearing from a lot of you is you're like, I am done. I'm done with the ice, the snow, the cold. I want brighter days ahead. And Wishing for Winter, to me, though, there's something about it that has me slightly intrigued to see, like, how does this compare to Nest Holiday? I don't think it's going to be a dupe, but the fragrance notes sound like they might be kind of in that realm. And that fragrance to me sounds like it's going to be a beautiful transitional scent. Like this, that to me sounds like a November type of fragrance. So if it's still in stock, if my budget allows, I think that I'm going to go ahead and get that one. I think that's the reason also why I've been saying the blueberry lemon crumble. I might get that in a 4-wick, so that way I have more room in my budget to get the Wishing for Winter and not feel so bad about stashing it aside for later on this year. But Wishing for Winter is also on my wish list. Now let's go ahead and talk about, I have 3 more candles here that are in the 2-wick format, and I think that all of these are also available in the 4-wick format. So another fragrance, while we're talking about scents that might kind of, I don't see them being full on what I would burn this type of year, is the fragrance The Family Recipe. It has top notes of cinnamon sugar and warm sweet potato, middle notes of melted marshmallow and baked pecans, and a bottom note of pie crust, vanilla cream, and pistachio. This is another one that I've gone back and forth on. Do I want it in a 2-wick? Do I want it in a 4-wick? I think I'm going to go with a 2-wick on this because I feel like this is the type of fragrance that would burn really nice with some other fragrances that I have that are more like spice heavy. So I feel like this would go really nicely with a fragrance like Coffin Cake when that returns in the fall. This to me is definitely more of like a fall profile, but this is a fragrance family that I would see myself possibly pulling out to burn. Maybe if we have like a storm system that comes through between now and like maybe late April, where, you know, the weather's going to be a little bit colder. We're going to have, you know, rainy days. That I like to reach for cozy scents like that on rainy days. And again, I'm in Arizona. We don't get a ton of rain, but on the days that we do, I like to pretend. I like to pretend and kind of like set that vibe in my home. And so the Family Recipe is one that I think will complement some other fragrances that I have. But I think at this moment, I'm going to go ahead and go with a 2-wick. And then the next fragrance that, again, I went back and forth. Do I want this in a 2-wick or a 4-wick? I think what I've settled on is I want this fragrance in a 2-wick, but I'm going to pick up two wicks if I can instead of a 4-wick. It is the fragrance Lemon Pound Cake. Now, I am a lemon gourmand lover. That is, I think, a genetic trait I inherited from my mom. There are certain fragrances that have me reminding that have me thinking of my mom. Let's put those words together. In fact, this weekend it will mark 9 years since she passed away, and so lemon to me is just something that makes me think of her, particularly lemon gourmands. She loved all things lemon in the spring and summer. Lemon and lilac, those were her things that she went for in the spring and summer. So lemon pound cake has top notes of lemon and lemon peel, mid notes of butter, and bottom notes of cake, vanilla, and sugar. Again, you guys, I know that I'm going to love this one. I pretty much haven't found a lemon gourmand that I don't like. I tend to like them all. And so I figure once again, this is also the type of fragrance though that I typically, it's almost like a vanilla, like vanilla in the fall and winter is like the little black dress. But I've said this repeatedly. I feel like a lemon gourmand it kind of takes vanilla's place in the spring and summer for me. I can burn lemon gourmands with just about everything, and it just kind of amps everything up. So I see myself wanting to pick up at least 2, possibly 3. Once again, it depends on the budget. Of lemon pound cake. And then the last fragrance that is on my wish list is Spring Market. Now, Spring Market, I actually was kind of eyeing it last year. And for whatever reason, probably again, budgetary constraints, I did not purchase it. But this year, I definitely want to try it out. My friend McKenna over at the Joyful Candle, she really, really loves this fragrance. The top notes are listed as lemon, lime, and tangerines. I love that. I love that going on already. Mid notes of green apple, sugar, and violet, and bottom notes of peach and musk. I know a lot of people, McKenna said that it's like a really nice, like spring apple type of fragrance. Apple is usually a note that I burn in or I gravitate towards for fall. So I'm very curious to see what the take would be on it for the springtime. I feel like this is one that um, like they put it in their spring launch, but I feel like it sells well enough sometimes that then they bring it back at another point in the spring. I do remember this one being there last year and they brought it back this year, which means that I feel like a lot of people who are familiar with the brand really love it. So I'm excited to give it a go. This is one, again, that I initially had on my list for the 4 wicks, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go with a 2 wick this time just to make sure that I love it. If I love it, I hope that they will restock it again at some point. But again, one of the main reasons why you're seeing me want to pick up a couple more 2 wicks this go around is because one, we have Kringle's Easter launch happening on this, happening a couple of days after this. And the other thing too is that Caramel Sundays is bringing back their laundry soap, which, well, not bringing back, they have had laundry soap in all of their restocks, but they're bringing it back in a particular fragrance that I really love. And that is the scent Plain Jane. Now, Plain Jane is a fragrance that is very similar to Tyler Candle Company's Diva Wash, but this is a clean version of it. So if you're somebody who has skin sensitivities or you like using cleaner ingredients, Plain Jane. And so again, I'm hoping because they haven't had this in stock in quite some time, I am hoping to stock up on this. And so I think that is also cutting into what would be my normal candle budget for Caramel Sundays this month, is because I am wanting to get a couple of backups of the laundry soap if I can. And they're also going to be offering that fragrance in their fabric refresher. Now, the fabric refreshers are kind of like a clean take on like typically like a Febreze fabric spray. I think a lot of people, particularly if you have pets in the home, if you have stinky teenagers in the home, people like to use these to refresh a lot of their fabrics, say like their pillows, their couches. I personally really like using them on my mattresses when I, do clean sheet day, when I wash my sheets every month. And backing it up real quick, you guys, the laundry soap I use primarily on my sheets and towels. I have a family of 5 and it gets a little expensive for me to try to use it on everything. I just use like a regular fragrance-free type of soap for the rest of our clothing, but I do like to use scented laundry detergent on my sheets and towels, and Plain Jane is my favorite one to use. But I'm really excited that they're bringing Plain Jane in the fabric refresher, because not only do I like to use it on my mattresses, my couches, and my pillows, but I actually like using it in some of our vehicles. Now, I can't use it in my particular vehicle because I do have leather seats in that vehicle, but like my daughter's car, she can use it to kind of quickly give it a little refresh on the upholstery in there, and same with Cody's commuter car or his truck. So yeah, I like to have those for that. I do also know that they are bringing back wax melts this time around. Truthfully, you guys, I don't have like a designated wax melt warmer, but one of the things that I am doing is I'm saving one of my old empties vessels to go ahead and put into a candle crock, and I'm going to designate that as kind of a wax melt warmer. I am possibly interested in picking up cherry mousse in their wax melts, because I've heard a lot of people say that that's a really nice cherry fragrance. And I think sea salt is another one that a lot of people really love. But again, that's kind of more of like, I think I had sea salt in their laundry cleaner, and I don't remember what I thought about it. So I feel like those are two fragrances that I don't really want to commit to them being in a full-size candle, but I do want to familiarize myself with that fragrance. And so I might pick it up in a wax melt to just get an idea of what I would think about that. But anyways, you guys, that is my wish list for this weekend. Now, couple of tips and tricks here. If you're new to shopping with Caramel Sundays, make sure you are signed up for their text alerts. This will give you 2 minutes of early access before the sale goes live. They do typically take down their website a few hours before launch to make sure that all of the inventory is properly uploaded. If you want to go to the Caramel Sundays website now, I suggest doing that. Look over what they're going to be offering. Make sure you have written down exactly what you want. Have your wish list ready to go. And then from there, also prioritize what items you want the most. So label them out 1 through, if you only have 3, 1 through 3. If you have 10, 1 through 10. But because the thing is that the way that their business model works, it's kind of Hunger Games like. But this is also where the element that they include shipping costs are already built in might help you out. It means that you can go in and place multiple orders. So, for example, what I might do here, I know that I want oat milk and pistachio and honey badger in those 5 wicks. There's also part of me that's like, 5 wicks are pretty expensive, so I don't know how quickly those will go, but I don't want to take any chances. Those are my 2 number 1 priorities. So I'm going to go in, put those 2 in my cart, bam, check out, go right back in. Next, I want blueberry lemon crumble, and I probably want to make sure I get those lemon pound cakes and the spring market. So I'm going to add those to my cart, boom, check out. Then I'm going to go back in and see if I can get the family recipe and wishing for winter. I'm probably going to throw Plain Jane laundry soap somewhere in between, probably in order number 2. So what you want to do is just prioritize, what do you want the most? What are the things that you would be like okay with if they happen to go out of stock before you could get your hands on? So one of the things I will say is that I do think Caramel Sundays over the last year has done a better job of making more product. I think that they got kind of slammed when word got out about them in the YouTube universe. I know that they've been building their business for over 5 years on Instagram, but once word started to spread about them on YouTube, I do think that they got an influx of new customers. And so they've spent the last year really trying to increase inventory for that. But keep in mind, you guys, they are a small business. They are a husband and wife team. I think they have maybe like 1 or 2 extra employees that help them out. So they've been working really hard all month to try to make sure that they have enough in stock. But this is just the business model that works best for them. And I really, really like purchasing from the brand. I have a good relationship with them. This video is not sponsored by Caramel Sundays. I don't get PR. I don't have an affiliate code. I don't have any of those things. I know that for whatever reason, people think that that is what is going on. But you guys know, if you've been with my channel any length of time, I keep it very, very real with you guys. I always put there if it's a paid promotion, meaning that I'm talking about something I received in PR. I actually just talked about last week on the Friday 5 that I withdrew an affiliation with a brand because I just don't really purchase from them anymore. And it was not right for me to continue to be able to get commission from a brand that I myself am not really shopping for. So I do keep it real with you guys always. And yeah, this is a brand that I love that I love and I love talking about here, and really, really excited about this new spring restock. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are you excited about? Is your bank account already crying with this release happening the same week as Kringle Easter? Let me know. I would really be curious to hear your thoughts. But anyways, you guys, again, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.